Or is that a background?
That's a background. Welcome to the Life with Joey Calvo podcast. I'm Joey Calvo. Our podcast is on the World Podcast Network with over 1,200 podcasts in over 12 genres. Vote for our podcast on the leaderboard to help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Go to https://worldpodcast.network. And like I said, you can join for free. Today, we have Marla Goldberg. She is a metaphysical healer, a doctor of metaphysical healing, ordained minister, best-selling author, creator, and the host of Guided Spirit Conversations podcast. Marla, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you, Joey. I'm excited to be here with you.
Thank you. It's great to hear. So, who is Marla Goldberg before all of that I just read? How did we get to where we're at?
From wounded warrior to doctor of metaphysical healing?
Yes.
So, actually, wounded warrior goddess, I'm going to change that to that. But, it's like many people who find spirituality, my life wasn't working. I just hit a wall. And in my quest to try to figure out how to heal, I ran into my first metaphysical teacher, joined her mystery school, graduated with 14 modalities under my belt, and thought I was going to go on with life. But Spirit had another path for me, because they kept putting things in front of me, and I kept going to this class and that class, and I finally found spiritual response therapy, or SRT, which is one of my favorite healing modalities, and continued education, had my own podcast until December 31st of last year. And which I was doing. So I started bringing people. I wanted to let the world know about these incredible metaphysicians that were not, that they may not have heard about. So I started doing that. But I kept studying and ended up graduating as a doctor of metaphysical healing from Delphi University in McKaysville, Georgia. And now I am trained in over 50 modalities and am honing my psychic mediumship skills. And that's what brought me here. I'm also a best-selling author. I don't know if you knew. So I don't know if you know the name of my book, but it's My Fucking Long Journey to Loving Myself, A Guide to a Shorter Path. So on top of all that, I am also a self-help expert.
Okay. All right. You also state that you're an ordained minister as well.
I am.
Okay.
Non-denominational. I think we froze. Either I froze or you froze, Joey.
That's why I didn't. I'm here.
Okay.
I apologize. I have, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to if you see the screens black out and we stop talking, I had the T-Mobile Wi-Fi network, and it sucks on live streams. And usually when that happens, it's usually, from what I've told, a lot of people are on the network at one time, and it causes this little crash. So if we go off and I don't hear you, that's why. Okay? So I give you that heads up. So I apologize for that. So I didn't go any further into the bio, only because, I try to make these intros as interesting as possible in the best possible way. But tell us about the book.
So it's a partial autobiography. It talks about, my life and all its dysfunctional glory, and how I came out of it, started down my spiritual path, started metaphysics, started healing, and landed, I think where I landed, I had been with my new husband for a few years, and it's just showing other people that you're not alone. So the whole purpose of doing this book on the front half was to not just vomit out my dysfunctional life, how I was raised and all the craziness, but so people don't feel that they're alone. There's so many people who, feel like, oh my God, nobody else goes through this. Nobody else goes through this. And you find out that more people go through what I've gone through or what they might be going through than not. Having a dysfunctional family is more the norm than the abnorm, if that makes sense. Okay. And then the second part of the book is got 14 healing techniques that I used and still use today to help keep myself clear, keep my energy clear.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, it's an interesting title now that I looked at it. And one thing I will say that, and I'm going to throw myself into this.
Of course.
I have been over the past 35, 40 years, I've been my own worst enemy. I literally thought that, well, no, I didn't think. I knew. I literally hated myself. I was picked on in school, and all the negativity from that got into me. Then, as my life went on, and the relationships I had, and all the cheating that happened in the relationships, that got into me, made me feel that I'm not even
worthy.
Not quite worth it. I wasn't attractive enough. The worthiness, the not worthiness came along at the same time. And then after I got married, I thought I would break it and to wind up being in a controlled relationship. And she cheated on me to the point where she wound up having a child from another guy. So, I mean, it caused me to make a mistake that really took a toll on me and has changed my life a little bit, but not for the greatest. But it's something I have to deal with. So now I've gotten to the point where I'm now starting to realize everything that's been going on over these 35, 40 years. And I've gotten to the point where people that, how can I explain this in the best possible way? People say they have my best interest, but I question it. I literally question it. I literally question how people say they have my best interests when they're not me. And the best interests I have, I can't show it because I'm afraid of what would happen if I did. Trying to accept me for who I am. I mean, I can accept me for the negativity. I can accept me that I'm not the greatest. I can accept that, that I'm ugly and stuff inside and out.
Joey,
I mean, the only thing I can accept. Okay.
I have to stop you because I understand you're trying to be I understand what you're trying to say, but here's the thing. The person that needs to be looking out for your best interest is not outside of you. It's within you. And until you start really healing, which I don't feel, I'm looking at your energy. I don't feel you have fully healed. I know you want to. There's a huge desire in your heart to want to heal. And there's a lot because of other people's impressions. And I'm not talking about first impressions. I'm talking about their energetic impressions, their imprints from being bullied. I was bullied when I was young. From, the cheating, makes you feel less than, like, why aren't I good enough? And there's a lot of those processes that are in my book that teach you, some ways to help at least get started on that road, that path. But here's the thing, you have to, self-love comes from within.
Yeah.
When you learn to love yourself and accept yourself and not look at yourself as ugly, because you have a beautiful spirit. So it's about healing and understanding all those things that have happened to you is more about them than it was you. But it was painful. It's heartbreaking. You've got wounds.
Yeah.
And we all have, I still have wounds, and I've been working on myself for over 24 years.
Yeah.
So it's, it's a process. And I'm looking at you right now. You are not ugly. Are there things you might want to do for your highest and best good? Yes. But you have to be the way, it's with all due respect, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but it's like alcoholics. Until you admit you're an alcoholic, you can't change it. Until you admit that you're things, that you're wounded in certain areas, that's when you can start, things will start coming to you to help you with the healing process, like me.
Right. I kind of admit to people that I'm literally wounded in a way. And it's like, I'm just like, but at the time that I'm doing it, as I'm saying it, I wind up being what happened to me. Like I'm forcing and rushing into things and pushing into things that are making people uncomfortable. And it's like I want them to know that I was wounded, and at the same time trying to heal myself and to be the positive Joey that I'm supposed to be. But as I'm doing it, like I said, I'm like rushing into things, wanting to do things that people don't want to do yet, and getting to the point where I'm making the relationships uncomfortable and wanting to push people away so I can, after I'm realizing that I'm doing it, pushing people away so I can get away from it and try to, just like hide in a shell,
Why do you do that, Joey?
That's what I try to figure out sometimes.
Because it's easier to push people away, and then you could say I did it rather than feeling rejection if somebody else pushed you away.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, Marla. I think because of how hurt I was when everything was going on with all the cheating and the relationships, it's just I guess I'm afraid to let it happen again, so I'm pushing it away before it happens. And I mean, I can admit to that. I think I can admit to that, and I think I can feel that because I was looking for acceptance when I was little.
Yes, we all are.
And I mean, right now, yeah, God accepted me. Okay. That's totally understandable all across the board. But during those years, for me to try to accept me was the challenge because of all that negativity that was instilled in me.
Yes.
And even with now, even that it's even getting deeper and getting to the point where I'm getting in my older age and I'm feeling, like there's nothing to look forward to. Not that I don't want to end my life, but what I'm looking forward to is a dream now. It's more considered a dream than a reach. So, I mean, I have to admit to that.
Okay, but here's the thing, it doesn't have to be just a dream. I'm one of these people who believes that if you are willing to put in the time and effort and work in you helping to heal yourself, then because I'm a healer, right? But
Yeah.
I'm a conduit. So when I work with clients, we're a team. We're a collaborative team. I can't do anything without your help, and you can't. Well, you can do things without my help,
Right.
but it might take a little bit longer, or somebody like me. It doesn't have to be me.
Right.
But you do have the ability to change your life, and it's never ever too late. I looked at myself as a late bloomer in doing this, because when I started, I was, oh God, people will know my age, that I was, way into my adulthood, but much younger than I am today. Right. And it again, it was a process, and there was a lot of unknowns, and I had to have leaps of faith with people who were trying to help me, so I could take the tools that they were working with me and help to heal myself. So, for example, I bet that a lot of times with all these hurts, you didn't emote, you didn't get it out, you just sort of repressed it down. Would I be incorrect?
Yeah. Most of the time I did bring it out, but it was like, it got to the point where I was starting to be feeling like I was immature, that I needed to grow up, that I was like that people were starting to tell me that I was acting immature, that I needed to grow up.
But
because I was hurting all the time.
Correct. And that's why I'm saying I don't think that you really got it out. I think that, maybe you get this much out, but a lot of it is repressed in, and you have to get it out of your system. That's number one.
Yeah.
So, by the way, this is the cover of my book.
Okay.
I just want to show it to you so you know.
Okay.
So in these processes, right? So I love this. This helped me a lot. I was really angry. I was angry a lot about my choices. I was angry about marrying my first husband. I was angry about how I was treated. I was angry that I was stuck. I was angry. So what did I do? From a suggestion of one of my teachers, I went to Toys R Us, because there was Toys R Us then.
Yep.
And I picked up
that tells you my age too.
But a kid's plastic bat. You can do a Nerf bat. And here's what I'm going to say before I go any further. This is only to be used on inanimate objects, never on a human, never on an animal. Okay. So I have to put that disclosure in.
Okay.
Take this bat and you go to your mattress, or you go to your sofa, or you go to, I used to use my healing table, and I would go to town. I would start hitting and hitting. I would hit it so hard that at one time my bat shattered across my healing room.
Wow.
Because I was, and here's the thing, within seconds, you are going to start bringing up emotions. Don't repress them. Let them come up. You cry, you scream, you whatever it is, you get it out of your system. And when you're done, and you don't have to do it long, and you probably won't do it long because it's a lot. It's a very cathartic, cleansing feeling. Now, if you live in New York City or a big city,
in Philadelphia, just let you know. What? I'm in Philadelphia.
Okay. So if people live very close to you, right? You don't want to scare your neighbors. You don't want people to think you're killing yourself or being mutilated.
Right.
So you take a pillow.
Yeah.
And if you go on my website, you can see I created this scream pillow. And you scream into this pillow to help muffle your sounds.
Right.
So people don't get alarmed, but you get it out of your system. And if it's really, if you were at a family dinner and somebody really pressed your button and you really needed to go in a room and scream, there's something called silent screaming.
Yeah.
And it's weird. I have to say, the first time I did it, it was weird, but you scream without the noise. And that too is very cathartic at getting things up and out.
Yeah.
So these are two things that are in my book that have been incredibly helpful to me and incredibly helpful to my clients and to the people who have purchased this book and used it. There's so many things that you can do, Joey, to begin to help yourself. And if you choose to go to a healer, such like myself, and you might want to go to someone who's close by. Some people like face-to-face. Some people like Zooms. Like this. But they're your conduit. They're the person that's going to help guide your healing with you. So when I do work with my clients, my high self connects to your high self. And it sort of guides what I'm doing. You're in control. And then the thing is if some healers give homework, like the bat idea, the bat concept, the pillow concept. And if they say, okay, try doing this, go, throughout your week and try doing this twice this week and see how you feel, see what goes on. That's your role. It's not like, because people have this misnomer, right? That, you're an energy healer, so you're going to snap your fingers like Bewitched. You might know that one too.
Yes, I do. Towards the end. Well, actually, it was in syndication at the time when I was growing up. So,
okay, but the concept is like, you snap your fingers and voila, you're healed. No, it doesn't quite work that way. You feel better for sure. But it's a collaborative effort between healer and patient, healer and client, whatever terminology they use. Does that give you any more insight?
That gives me an idea of what I could do, and I thank you for that. So I want to get to some questions.
Sure.
So first, I have to introduce you to the person who has the questions. She is our number one fan, number one supporter, and she's a real life superheroine. And she does, like you've been saying, Marla, she has been trying to support me and guide me through my wounds and stuff as well. This is American Fox, okay? And she has some questions for you. So the first question that she has is this: how do you decide on what subject to speak about?
That's based on what I'm asked to speak about. Now, I'm proficient in a lot of subjects. So if someone wanted me to talk about self-love, I'm talking about self-love. If they want me to talk about healing, I can talk about healing. I've got a lot of education and a lot of knowledge under my belt.
Okay. All right. So the second question that she has is, and you kind of answered this one, can anyone be healed?
The answer is yes. Here's my caveat. And the caveat is, it's the mindset of the client or patient, because a healer will do what they do, but if the client isn't receptive, if they come in like, oh, show me, prove it to me, or they're closed mind, like, I don't believe in this, nothing's going to work. It doesn't make a difference who the healer is. It's not going to work, because if your mind is closed, one of my favorite parables is, your mind is like a parachute. It doesn't work unless it's open.
Gotcha.
I love that one.
Yeah. When you mentioned about, saying about proof and stuff, that was kind of one thing I had thought about. Like, I always wanted proof of, that this podcast is is helping people out, proof no matter what way I was looking at it, even for me. So yeah, that was what.
Jerry, on my journey, my proof was very subtle. When I realized the degree of healing that I have acquired It wasn't automatic. It wasn't one session. I can't tell you how many hours upon hours upon hours working with fellow classmates, doing exchanges, going to outside healers, and getting work done. It was a huge investment in myself. But, but all of a sudden, like, I just realized, there's a shift in my thinking. Because one thing I want to share is where thoughts go, energy flows. So if you're thinking badly about yourself, what are you going to attract to yourself?
Right.
People who are going to be bad, treat you badly or make you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. And then you wind up hurting the ones that treat you the best and, are there, and being supportive, like I said, with American Fox and supporting with this podcast, being the number one fan. Most of the time, podcasts would wind up being short, and she'd come up with questions for the guests that would keep it going. And she's told me, and she has told me that, this podcast has done wonders for her. And I keep saying, and even for myself, I was going to psychiatrists and psychologists and stuff, doing it mentally of the wound, not looking at it in the holistic way, So I had the last psychiatrist I had literally told me this, and it shocked me. He literally said, your podcasts are your therapy. And I said, really? I was like, you're telling me this? And then as time went on, I started to realize, you know what? Yeah, this is getting to be like my therapy. So, this was one thing, and guests like, having guests like you, it's like I'm picking brains to even guide the therapy on,
Sure.
on how to make it better. Like, like the suggestion for the Nerf bat. And believe me, I wouldn't need it right now. But unfortunately, if I needed it, it wouldn't be on an inanimate person or inanimate object right now. It would be at a person just to get my frustration out on some anger at that one person.
But no, you never do that to a person.
Oh, no. I know. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it through my mind. I'm just saying.
So let me share something else I used to do. Like, I used to box, and my sparring partner would hold up his mitts, and I would picture the face of whoever I was angry at, or I was, whomever did me what I perceived as a disservice. And I would just hit the sweet spot because and that's what I would aim to. Or tennis, when you serve a ball, you go up and you hit it. But you put the individual's face on the ball and smack the ball. You can do the same thing with golf if you're a golfer. But there's things you can do where you can visualize and then make the effort to get it out of your system.
All right. Thank you for that. All right. The third one from American Fox is, what feedback have you received on your books?
Well, for the most part, the feedback is great. The feedback is helpful. I didn't know anybody else went through this. Things that I had already shared with you about my book. It's just, or when I started this podcast with you, many people think they're alone in what they're dealing with, and they're not alone. They would probably find a huge population dealing with same or similar parallel kind of issues that they have done. There's a cliche about, everybody has the same stuff. It's just a different address.
Okay.
But I will say similar stuff, but it's just in a different address.
Okay. All right. All right. So if anybody wants to get to know American Fox, you can reach her on Instagram at American Fox 12018 and on X, formerly Twitter, at American Fox 4. Please comment on her posts if you really want to get to know her. People get on, they start following, and they just plant themselves like a bot. So if you're serious about it, please, comment to reach out. Okay, let me get that out. All right, just bear with me one moment. All right. So, now that we got through that, now what led you to be an ordained minister?
When I got my doctorate, it was an option that I decided to take up on. It's just another step in my process.
Mm-hmm.
And as an ordained minister or a religious figure, there are things that go under the umbrella of being a minister, in terms of information you're sharing or healing or whatever you might be doing. And so when it was offered to me, I accepted becoming a minister because I felt it was a powerful addition to what I've already done.
Okay. And this, you said you ended the podcast, the Guided Spirits podcast?
So last year was a very challenging year because I had an accident and broke my elbow. Mm. Then 2 months later, I had an accident and I broke my hip. Mm. And it was a big healing process on a number of levels. Mm-hmm. Because to me, everything is a lesson, opportunity, or gift, or a combination of. And when I'm lying on my shower stall with my broken hip, I'm talking to spirit saying, okay, what's the lesson? What's the opportunity? What's the gift? I really need to know this.
Yeah.
And so it was about taking a little bit more time for me because I had, for over a decade, I had contributed a lot of time and energy into my metaphysical practice, my healing, all of that, plus my relationship, my home life. And it's Spirit's way of saying you need to slow down. And apparently I wasn't listening too well, so they gave me 2 reasons to slow down.
Yeah. I think right now I'm getting my feeling too, because I've been out of work because I work at Amazon part-time now. And over the past year, I have, everything just, like I had mentioned about how my mentality was earlier. And,
yes.
Well, the physical decided to come up last year. So within the past year, I, between having rashes all over my body now from bed bugs, to swollen legs, having edema in both legs now, to being diabetic, to now weighing over 260 pounds when I was 200 like last year, within the past year. And also to the point now where I just had a meniscus tear in my right knee and I'm about to go back to work soon anyway. So, I mean, it's just, that much of a change, that's taking its toll on me as well. And so I can see where you're at in reference to that happening. But I did my best. I do my best to continue this podcast the best way possible because I don't, like I mentioned before, like a psychiatrist told me, it's my therapy. So, so I continued it this way because of that, and like I said, because of fans like American Fox and a few others that I've been told, you know, that do support this podcast. Some have come to have put a negative comment into it, which of course would hurt me, because I don't like. I'm not a person that likes. Of course, nobody likes people attacking other people.
Correct.
And I think, and maybe this might be in part of the healing process, is how the words come out, how words are presented. Could words literally be that correct way of healing yourself if you present it the right way?
It's a step to healing.
Okay.
I don't necessarily know if it will completely heal you by changing everything, but when you change the way you think, things start changing around you. Do you have a gratitude practice? I'm going to ask you that straight out. Do you do gratitude?
I always compliment left and right. Like I could tell you how wonderful you are till I'm blue in the face.
That's not gratitude.
No.
Gratitude, Joey. You wake up and say, I am so grateful that I got up this morning. I am so grateful I have a roof over my head. I am so grateful I have fans who watch this show and get something out of it. I am grateful that I can do this show and bring wonderful guests to my audience. I am grateful that I have American Fox that supports me. I am grateful for the birds singing outside, or that it's fall and the leaves are changing.
I try to say no. I gotta change. I gotta keep taking the word "try" out of my language. I attempt to feel that gratitude. But after a couple minutes, after I'm up, then I lose it.
Okay.
Because then, once I'm up, I'm like, yeah, we're back to where we're at now. The woe is Joey. Why is Joey? This negative Joey that's ruining his own life.
So, Joey, what did I say earlier in the show? Where thoughts go, energy flows. Right?
Yeah.
So it's taking, when you have these negative thoughts, and because I did too, I'm not saying anything I haven't done for myself.
Right.
You repeat clear delete 3 times. So if you go, oh, I'm such a so-and-so, clear delete, clear delete, clear delete. And that's projecting anything negative to somebody else.
Right.
Clear delete, clear delete. Why? You want to stop the energy from going into the ethers and turning around like a boomerang, and coming back at you. But here's the thing. If you start a little gratitude practice, meaning, and when I say a little, I'm talking about this is when you wake up, you can write it down, you can say it out loud, or think to yourself 3 things, just 3 things you're grateful for. Grateful for as you open your eye. And then at the end of the day, the same thing. Just 3. Start with 3. As you become more comfortable with this, you may start adding more and more. I have to tell you, I realized when I was going through a challenging time when I started my gratitude practice, and all of a sudden one day I'm walking my dog and I'm singing. I'm singing as I'm walking this big guy down the street. And I was like, oh my God. That's when I realized the shift. It was so subtle. I didn't realize it was happening until I knew it was happening. Until I was like, the epiphany happened, like, whoa, my life is changing.
Yeah. Yeah. I one thing, and I've had other guests say, anything positive, share it and all that. And one thing I will say, like I said, like you mentioned, I should be grateful for American Fox being a supporter and a fan of this podcast, and I do. I deep down I do, but then it's like I want to dig deeper into that, and I think that's what gets to me in reference to it, and I think that's what turns it, because again, I don't want to hurt people for the wound that's in me, like we mentioned, and it's like I do what I can to present that I'm wounded, and to really share that I'm wounded and admit that I'm wounded.
Why do you need to share that you're wounded, Joey? Why do you feel that need?
I guess because I just want it out of my system. I think I just wanted it out of my system. If I brought out everything bad that's happened to me, it would feel like I'm taking some weight off of me. But I'm realizing as I'm doing that now, I'm not taking the weight off, I'm adding weight on, because now, I'm pushing it to somebody else that doesn't deserve to be pushed like that, or brought
Yes.
brought into that, and I guess learning it, and I think by doing that I'm pushing people away, because
Yes.
I don't want them to deal with me like that, because I'm not deserving of the way I would say it is of a human. I wouldn't say, I'm not saying that I'm not human, but when I'm pushing people away, or when I'm doing the pushing on other things, I'm not feeling human. I'm feeling like a monster, and that's not right to anybody. And I don't deserve to be. I shouldn't be deserved of a friendship for that. And that's how I look.
True. Okay, so let me share.
Yeah.
First of all, we all deserve to be able to have good friends in our lives and to be loved and accepted. We all have that divine right. But my unsolicited suggestion, because you didn't really ask me about this, but is that if you're in a headspace where you feel you need to share how wounded you are, maybe that's the time where you go inside and you get introspective and not share it with people unless they're your closest people, and you say, yeah, I'm having one of those low days, so I'm going to stay home and deal with it, and then journal. Do journal, Joey?
No, I don't, because I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'd probably be writing a book if I did.
Well, you are. You're writing it. You're each piece that you put into your journal is like a chapter, because it's sharing a day in the life of Joey.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: you have to get out of it. So how does disease, which is dis-ease, all right? If you break it down, you've heard this before. How do people get so sick? How come so many people are getting sick? Because they haven't processed out their hurt, their toxic relationships, their anger. It's all just inside, rolling around, and then affecting not only the human body, but your mind and how you think. How you think about yourself, how you think about interactions.
Yeah. Because, like I said, I start getting into conversations with people, and I start building, or I feeling friendships building on, and as I'm feeling the friendship building on, I start to open up deeper, which I think gets to me, because as I'm opening up deeper, it's starting like I said, the pushing and all these other things to the point where I want to push everybody away and just say, you know what, let me get out of here. Let me get out of your way because I don't want to be an inconvenience in reference to, your direction that you're going, because you're going one direction, I'm going a whole different way, and it's not right to the person that, I'm with, because, like I said, I'd rather have a strong, healthy relationship with a person than what I'm having now. So I do the best. People will say, I put up a wall around myself a majority of the time.
Okay.
And I literally, when I open, and I built, it's like I built a little door in that wall, and I'll open it once in a while and let some out. But once I let too much out, I have to shut it, because either I went too far or I went too deep.
And it was too soon in the relationship to be doing that, possibly?
It could be, or I've been told I've been gullible also, that that I can fall head over heels in a heartbeat, and I can say that's true. And it's just like I want to hold on to it, and I guess as I'm holding on to it, maybe that door is like me trying to hold on to it, and then when I'm realizing that I'm going too far on it, and that it's starting to hurt, then I shut it. That could be the thing. I'm looking at it that way.
Well, it's a possibility, but it's hurting because it's still there. It hasn't been healed. Yeah. You haven't worked on it to heal it.
Right. All right. So as we're coming up towards the hour, Marla, how can people reach out to you?
My website is Marla Goldberrg, and Goldberg has 2 R's.com.
We have it up on the screen, just let you know.
Thank you. And you can reach me through my website.
Okay. Marla, thank you so much for all the advice. I truly do appreciate it. Like I said, I can admit that I've been wounded for years, and just having the trouble bringing it out. And I thank you for that advice on how to bring it out. And definitely, if you ever want to come back on the podcast again, just let me know. And
thank you.
She'll be happy. And she has her book out, My Fucking Long Journey to Loving Myself. And no, I'm not editing it out. That is the name of the book.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So definitely check that out, or go to marlagoldberrg.com. Thank you, everybody, for watching the Life with Joey Calvin podcast. God bless you all.
Thank you, Joey.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening, everyone.